So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the UK will be told to lift a ban on hormone-treated beef to join the CPTPP, which again has way too many letters in it. Please, can we do something about this? Honestly, so it sounds like the lali lulelo, honestly. So the UK will be told to lift its ban on hormone-treated beef to achieve its post-Brexit dream of joining key trade bloc, a leaked government memo suggests. And it's interesting someone leaked this. Some of the other members of the CPTPP do allow hormone beef. I think New Zealand's one of the ones that don't, but I think the Canadians do. So you'd have to look at the specifics of each member, but it's Canada who have asked these questions. Former colony come back to kind of haunt us, I suppose. But Canada has raised the stakes by asking probing questions about the controversial issue of hormones in beef to boost meat production, which London has vowed will remain outlawed. And the thing is, as you know, the article does point out at some point that Canada can veto our accession to the CPTPP. So we've essentially traded away sovereignty. We're going to be talking about in another article about how Jacob Rees-Mogg is like, why don't we just give countries unilateral equivalents so we can trade easier with them? So subscribe for that one because that's going to be fun. What genius that man is. Oxford grad, no doubt. So a note of a meeting of officials at the end of last week at the time on hormone-treated beef, Canada asked some probing questions and stated there will be an important issue for Canada in judging the UK's compliance with the CPTPP. Canada has the power to veto British accession, and it's not just Canada. I think the Australians and other countries, members of the CPTPP, can also veto our accession there. So that puts the UK in a very vulnerable position of, well, we have a lot of hormone beef we want to export. You're not going to allow hormone beef into your country. We don't want you in the bloc, son. The memo obtained by Politico adds Canada stopped short of describing the UK as non-compliant in this area. So essentially saying the UK won't comply with this. It could be a red line. Now, there are two possibilities to this. One is this is going to be a red line for Canada, and they're not going to allow us to join the CPTPP because of this issue around hormone-treated beef. Or they're using this as a negotiating chip, essentially, to try and get concessions elsewhere from the UK and don't really care about us importing their hormone-treated beef. So that's the two ways that, two things that could be happening. I think it's Canada wants to export hormone beef to the UK, but we'll see. Nevertheless, Labour seized on the discussion as evidence that the government is considering dropping animal welfare and food standards and allowing hormone-treated beef into UK markets. Now, that Australia deal will be the key as to if we allow hormone-treated beef. The problem is the Parliament doesn't allow a lot of scrutiny into these things, so it'd be very difficult to know exactly what the specifics are of the UK-Australia deal. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. As far as I know, I don't know if the deal kind of forces us or allows the importation of hormone-treated beef. Would have to see. Again, I could be wrong on that. The Secretary of State recently stated that our standards are are non-negotiable. The government should be standing up for UK interests in the accession to the accession process to CPTPP, said Nick Thomas Simmons, the Shadow Trade Secretary. So essentially saying that our standards should be a red line, and the government should be protecting our interests over the interests of Canada. Martin Lyons, chair of Nature Friendly Farming Network Campaign Group, warned the UK's drive for new trade deals is increasing the pressure to accept low environmental standards and low animal welfare standards, which is true. That's what these countries want, so they want to export more to us based on their standards, what they allow, rather than our standards, because they want to make money off us. Ministers have also been accused of blocking scrutiny by MPs of proposed trade deals, downgrading a promise of Commons debate to merely a firm ambition. And the thing is, right, they promised, take back control and all this stuff and more scrutiny and these things, right? And they're hiding the details of trade deals until they're signed. Like what? Like how are we supposed to square the circle of, we want more democracy, we're going to give it away to Liz Truss, we're going to give it away to other countries? That doesn't make any sense, unless it wasn't about sovereignty, not really. Countries such as Canada and Australia, which use growth hormones in farming to boost production, argue a ban has no basis in science. Again, I doubt that's true. Some of the drugs they use on animals doesn't seem great, especially antibiotics. Most CPTPP nations take a hazard approach to agricultural goods, allowing practices not proven to be unsafe. And again, that's a very dodgy line to take, because some of these scientists may be bought out. And taking you have to prove it's unsafe to stop us using it, it's a very stupid thing to do, because a lot of people are going to develop illnesses because you've taken this approach. Because the only way you're going to know they're unsafe is when people start developing illnesses like cancer. So this approach of a hazard first approach doesn't really make sense. It's countries that don't care about their people typically do this. Japan, which chaired the CPTPP Commission in 2021, and said the UK must accept the existing rules of the trade bloc in order to join, suggesting a showdown looms over hormone pump beef. And let's not forget here that the UK is very far away. The UK is very far away from these countries. We're not a major trading player for these countries. So the UK, setting these red lines in order to join the CPTPP, these countries will be like, nah, see you later, mate. That's what they're going to do, because they don't desperately need us. Not really. However, a government spokesperson told Politico, "We've always been clear, maintaining our high standards is a red line in all our trade negotiations," which really isn't true, is it? Because these deals benefit other countries more than us. They benefit New Zealand, they benefit Australia more than they benefit us. So that's not really true. I suppose with the high standards thing, we'll have to wait and see on that one. We'll have to see, if they do. I doubt they will. I think Johnson will sell his dad to get a trade deal, to be honest with you. Probably Liz the same. The UK will not be forced to lower our food standards, animal welfare, or environmental standards when acceding to the CPTPP. Now that's interesting. We won't be forced to lower our standards. Is she talking about production standards, or is she talking about import standards? Very tricky phrasing here. Will not be forced to lower our food, animal welfare, or environmental standards. Now, we might not necessarily lower our food standards, but we might lower the import standards so that these kind of foods can get into the country. And then technically we haven't lowered our standards. They could be being a bit tricky here. And there's absolutely nothing in the agreement which will require us to do so. I don't know, because Japan are saying otherwise. Japan are saying that the UK must accept existing rules of the trade bloc in order to join. So I don't know about that, dog. If it's one of the rules of the CPTPP that we have to accept their standards, and one of their standards is hormone-treated beef, then New Zealand seem to have some sort of out on this because they have an equivalency deal with the EU. But I don't know about that, dog. Ministers facing criticisms over a 15% plunge in trade with the EU since leaving the single market and customs union hope to join the CPTPP by the end of the year. And the thing is, the more desperate we are to join, the more concessions they'll get out of us, and the worse it will be for us in terms of the agreement we get if we join the CPTPP. And let's not forget, these countries are very, very far away from us. Trade will not be massively boosted because of this, because as Brexiteers don't understand, geography is a major player in dictating trade. There are some countries that kind of can get around it, such as China, by having low wages and low worker standards, and being absolute manufacturing powerhouses in part due to those things. But for the most part, you trade with your neighbours. And our neighbours are France and Ireland, the Netherlands, Belgium. Our neighbours aren't Japan, Australia, New Zealand, the US, Canada, and other countries. So yeah, geography is a major problem for Brexiteers. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.